Welcome, everyone, to Hanging Out with Howie. I have with me my usual sidekick and like-minded friend, Brian S. Red.
Howdy.
My very good friend from swinging Temecula, California, Mr. J. Brannan.
How are you?
And my road dog, John Cawley from Boston.
How you doing, Howie?
Welcome, guys. I'm going to surprise you. I got two topics. One was inspired by a post you made, Brian, about like wham bam, you had talked and settled everything on a wedding in just a few hours. And I get them sometimes. I'm having a difficult client. And so what I did was, it's like pulling teeth to get, come on, what's your first dance song kind of thing, these sort of things. And what I decided to do in the contract was have a 30-day lockout date. And I gave her the different tools. I have various online tools that some of you may have, where they can go and look up hundreds and hundreds of different, event songs,
sure,
and so forth. And I said, look, just give me your do not play list, for whatever reason. Maybe it was your favorite song from an ex or whatever.
Right.
And give me 10 songs that you want to hear. And we'll know the vibe of the room. We can do it. We've done thousands of these things. And this is your first time. I understand you're under stress, but if you let me help you, we can do this. And so she actually agreed to it. I said, if you don't pick, within 30 days, I will pick it for you. And
sure.
She goes, okay. How do you guys handle a difficult client like that?
Well, I mean, it's as important to them as it is, I think, is the way that I've looked at it, where, I may want the information just for my own sake, but if they don't care, why should I? And if it really comes down to it, when they're there and say, hey, we'd like to hear this song, it's like, well, okay, I don't have it. Let me see what I do have. Do you have something else? So I was asking you for this a long time ago. How about this? Oh, that's fine. They may not care. And in that case, why should you? Every wedding is different. There are no, as far as I'm concerned, there are no rules. I don't care what you do. Do whatever you want. So if you don't care, I don't care. That's how I look at it. I try to
it's fair.
How do I want to say it? I guess I try to just react or I don't even know how to articulate this, but I'm trying to be their advocate. So if they don't care, then maybe I don't need to worry about it, I feed off of them. If they care, I care. If they don't care, I don't care.
Got you. Yeah.
Well, if you're not getting the information that you think you need, you can get information about the guests. You can find out who'll be in attendance. Tell me about who's coming. And you can fill in some of the blanks that way. If they like one particular type of music and you see that everyone that's coming in from a distance is older or of a certain age, you can kind of put that together in your head. You can pretty much create it before you get there. And you can still do it on the fly and make changes. Right. But you can fill in the blanks a lot easier if you have, they're all coming from the Midwest. Like, find out what's hot there for that day and age and try to, try to pad it a little bit ahead of time. Then you're not scrambling the night of.
It's interesting.
I'm in kind of a rare spot because the majority, and by majority, about 85% of my gigs this year are at a venue where I guarantee my clients I will not be able to download music.
Yeah.
So I have to approach every client the same way. And I tell them up front, if you don't give me a song by the day of your wedding, I will play something that I feel best fits the moment. But in the interim, I think it's imperative you understand, if you come to me that day and go, I forgot to tell you Van Morrison Into the Mystic, the live version from Madison Square Garden in 79, is a ride or die song for us, you're going to hear back from me, well, play it tonight when you get back to your hotel room, because I don't have it. And when they hear that, it gives them a certain sense of urgency. To try to combine what Howie said and what everyone else has said. I break it down like this. There's a 30-minute prelude. I need 3 or 4 for ceremony. Then I have cocktail, dinner, and dancing. Then the special songs throughout the night. Focus on the special. Before I use DJ Intelligence, which has an automatic playlist for all my clients. Side note, I have one coming up where the slowest song is a Cascade song. They have requested nothing. And I told them, I said, we need to talk in March, because unless everyone there is hanging out at Hakkasan, and he's like, well, a lot of our friends and family are really into EDM. I'm like, your mom and dad? Like, well, no, not them. I'm like, okay, that's what we have to talk about. But I used to tell people, give me 5 cocktail, 5 dinner, 5 have to fast, 5 have to slow, and then maybe 5 you don't want. And let me fill in those gaps like Howie says.
Yeah.
But I've just gotten to the point, I shut my playlists off 6 days out. If I have double weddings the weekend before, I shut it 8 days out. And I tell them, I have a wedding coming up April 15th, I think, or 16th coming up. I spoke with the bride last week. We did the music outline. She's missing a lot of stuff. And I said, you're going to start getting emails and texts from me next week, meaning this week, because I think you should be done 2 weeks out. So in a perfect world, you need to have this all to me by the last day of March. Because if you're concerned the week of your wedding with music, I can tell you there'll be room block issues. Where's hair and makeup? How come the dress isn't right? No one got so-and-so's tuxedo. Where's the gift? Like, there's so much going on the week of a wedding that I think it's an absolute, you're robbing yourself of the experience if you're dealing with the music the week of or 2 weeks out. You really are.
It's interesting. I had a client meeting on Saturday. Just, I guess, what was that? Oh, Sunday, which I guess was yesterday, now that I think about it. It was a gig that I got from a friend who has a family obligation on the day. And it's an April 2nd wedding. So they're meeting me for the first time. And, I'm assuring them, hey, I got this. But they're just very laid back about everything. And they want ceremony and reception. And I'm like, well, who's marrying you? Well, sister whoever from Green Bay. Oh, it's her first wedding ceremony. I'm like, okay, are you having a rehearsal? No. I'm like, okay. So do you need my help? Well, maybe. So I guess I'll come in early the day of and kind of help stage this. Yeah, that sounds good. We don't really care. Okay. Sounds good. So do you want a father-daughter or mother-son? I don't know. Well, you don't have to. You can do anything you want. Okay. Yeah, let's not do it. and they were saying, there's only one song that we really want to hear. And we'd love to have it for our first song, but it's fast. And I'm like, okay. And I said, what is it? They said, well, it's a 70s song called Still the One. I'm like, oh, Orleans. Yes.
Right.
Like, okay. How about this? How about you go out and dance to it anyway? Who cares if it's fast? And then after the first chorus, I'll invite everybody to come out and we'll start the party. We love it. Done. They just don't care. I mean, they're not concerned with stuff, But
they're just very easygoing. So
yeah. We just want to see what happens.
I think where it gets dangerous, and I say this to every couple, I've never had a couple come back to me and say they regretted doing something at a wedding, but I've certainly had couples come back to me later and say they regretted not doing something. So the point is, I need a verbal yes or no on everything. Anniversary, honeymoon, father, like the wishy-washy answers, I'll press the client to get the appropriate answer. But the worst part is I tell them, everything you're telling me now that I'm writing down, typing, emailing, the coordinator's got it, the owner's got it, everyone's got it. Understand if that night you come up to me and say, remember I said I didn't want to do the father-daughter dance? Yeah. Well, last night my dad disclosed to me that he's always dreamt of dancing with me to Louis Armstrong, Wonderful World. Well, then we'll do it. Right. So we can always cancel things.
Yeah.
But I'm a firm believer that a client should have something in the barrel. You want to do the garter bouquet? No. Okay. Can I have a garter and a bouquet song? What do you mean? Just in case the girls talk you into the bouquet, let's at least have something you're comfortable with. Or,
it's interesting you say that because I always just kind of standardize that. It was like,
well, it's interesting.
I customized.
I had the one wedding where they didn't want to do that. And the mother came up because we were going to go, it was going to be cake cutting, and the mother comes running up to the couple while I'm talking to them. Wait a minute, you forgot the garter thing. You have to do that. You have to. And I mean, she got loud, and I was like, what? And they looked at me. Can you do that? I go, of course. I said, sure, we can do that.
As long as they want to do it, yeah.
And I didn't even ask what song. I can't remember what song I threw on and did the announcement. The ladies come out to the floor. Blah, blah, blah. I did it, and you do what you have to do.
I hear this a lot, Brian, and it's one of the reasons I try not to standardize anything. And I sell this is the only wedding I'm doing that day. I want it to be the best wedding anyone attends, and I want it to be your wedding, reflect you.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many times I hear from a bride, and I'm talking a quarter to a third of my weddings annually. A bride will say to me, "Oh, no, you know what? Don't play this song. My sister danced to that song." And wait a second. The maid of honor got married 6 months ago, and she did this song, but I really like it. Can I do it? I'm like, well, the maid of honor is going to be there. Will her husband be there? Yeah. Will a lot of the guests that attended her wedding be there? Yeah. Well, they'll either say one of two things. What a beautiful couple. What a gorgeous song. Or, oh, this is the same song so-and-so did. And that about 99% of the time sells them on, yeah, why don't we come up with another song? I said, I can always play it later, and it'll just be a song. But let's make this your wedding. Don't, unless you want to do things somebody else has done, because I don't want a regret in a week or 10 years or 100 years of, you know what, I really wish we had. And that's why I always stress to them, I've had couples say they regretted not doing it. I've never had them say they regretted doing it.
I mean, we can do anything. I mean, and one thing that this couple did do, and the guy I got the gig from said, they want a lot of 90s and 2000s R&B. Like, what? They don't seem like those people. But I talked to him, and they do have a long list of songs, and it's top 40 stuff. It's what it is. And it's quite long. It's 60, 70 songs, which obviously I can't play. And they understand. It's, well, what point do we insult you with the amount of songs that we give you? I said, you never insult me. I would rather know what you like and work it in where I can than, not know what you like. So it's great. But do me a favor, put a star next to like the, 6 to a dozen songs you gotta hear. So I'll make sure they get in there. But there's enough stuff in this list where I could use it for weird stuff like that and get weird about it. I've done all kinds of different types of songs for a garter and bouquet and things of that nature. Now, in my market, most people don't want that anymore. That's kind of gone the way of the polka. You just don't hear it a lot anymore.
Yeah.
Once in a while, but not very often. But
I moved garter. Do you do anniversary dance very much?
If they ask for it, if they feel like they need an activity and they feel like they need some engagement, I do it, but I can do that on the fly. I mean, that's something I have to plan for. I've done it 1,000 times.
One of my selling things is telling a bride who's on the fence with the bouquet and garter, well, if the anniversary dance fits, it's a great opportunity to show honor to the couples married the longest. And if it's your parents, grandparents, or relatives, you could, as a prize, give them the throw bouquet, and then no one's going to say anything later about, when are you doing the bouquet toss? Oh, I gave the bouquet to the couple married the longest. Oh my God, that's so sweet.
You may have given me that idea years ago.
I've been doing it forever.
Yeah, I've used it.
Yeah, and I find it really does add something to the day. It does. Just as a little bit of tips kind of thing.
Yeah, when you brought that up, I was like, you know what? I'm going to suggest this, and it went over big. It went over huge.
People really like it.
Everybody clapped when she gave it to the great grandmother.
Yeah,
and it's funny you're saying this, and I'm hearing you say this. I'm thinking in my head, I've been doing that for years, and then I remember I've known Jay for years.
Yeah,
so that's probably why I've been doing it for years.
I honestly think I've been doing it. No, all kidding aside, I think I've been doing it for. I don't remember who the DJ was that I was like I idolized at the time, but maybe 2001, 2002, because I'd had a bunch of weddings that didn't want to do it, and the anniversary dance started coming into style. And I heard a DJ talk about this. I'm like, dude, I'm stealing that. He's like, yeah, no, take it. It's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good. Okay. Hey, my second question, the big elephant in the room these days, we already have signed contracts. I do right up until August. And now the price of gas. Oh my God. Like,
this is stuff you got to plan for when you're building your pricing.
That's what I did, where I decided I'm going to raise my prices this year. And thank God I did, because I don't think it would be ethical at this point with the signed contract to say, oh yeah, hey, by the way, I got to add an extra $50 for gas.
No, not existing, but going forward. Yeah,
exactly.
Throwing a little something.
Right. Going forward. Yeah. Add 50 to the price or whatever to the,
because nobody saw that coming. That was an unknown variable.
Right.
Well, think about the gas station on the corner. They may have paid a lower price for their fuel when they got it, but now they're charging the market price for it.
Right.
And it's the same thing when the fuel price goes down. They may have paid more for it, but when the prices go down, they go down. So yeah, I don't know if that made sense or not, but yeah. So when I do my figuring for like a business plan, building into the price kind of thing, I talk about like home area, right? Within like an hour round trip kind of thing.
Right.
Figure $100 for gas. Why not? And sometimes that's high, sometimes that's right. It just depends.
You guys have a specific thing that says travel at a specific distance?
I don't. Well, I just tell people, where are you? Okay, that's within my home area, and my agent knows my home area is, but I don't have a thing because I don't want to discourage anybody from calling me.
I've always, you know where I live, Brian, and you know the area well enough to know that San Diego is where I came from. To get to most wedding venues in San Diego, it's about 60 miles, 50 to 60 miles. And to me personally, I'm saving time and energy by not driving down there to meet with people, which I used to do in the early 2000s when I first moved here.
Sure.
So I view San Diego as my market. Obviously, where I live is my market, and the 85% of my weddings are 14 miles away. So I'm not that worried, but I guarantee the first LA client that calls me, and I'll just say, you know what, there's an added this or that, because I can get a call to go 2-3 hours. And I hear it, especially tri-state Midwest DJs that are loading a trailer and driving, on Facebook. I got a 3.5 hour drive to get to the wedding. And I'm like, 3.5 hours? I can get to Vegas in 3.5 hours. I would consider that a big travel.
You kind of know how far Madison is from Milwaukee. I mean, you got stuck in some traffic, but it's maybe
a couple hours.
An hour 15.
Hours, maybe?
It's an hour 15.
Oh, hour 15. Okay.
That's about hour 20 or something like that. I just got a gig today for September. It's in a place called Mount Horeb, which is probably about maybe a half hour west of Madison.
Okay.
And the agent texted me on it and asked if that was cool. 6 hours, Mount Horeb. And I said, it's fine. Just get me a travel charge on that. And they know what that means. So I'm outside of my home area. Throw me $100 for fuel, which is all.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be excessive. I've read contracts where it's like anything over 30 miles, it's a $1.25 a mile charge kind of thing. I mean, the government write-off is 54 cents a mile, which, when you look at the price of gas versus that, you're going to come out on top. Yeah. So even if you instituted, hey, after this distance, I charge the government fee of 54.5 cents a mile. So that would add on $75. You're either gonna break even or win a little.
I mean, I live right by downtown. You've been here.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it's like, why don't you people give me downtown gigs? I live right here, but no, you want to give me Mount Horeb gigs,
right?
Or Chicago gigs, and if I'm crossing state lines, I'm charging for it.
No, I think that changes everything. But like I said, you and I have been to the same shows and the Midwest tri-state seems to be the really strong point of guys from your area that are like, yeah, I got a wedding in Indiana. And it's like, okay, well, I think Fort Wayne is 170 miles from Chicago or something. That's, to me, that's traveling. You're crossing state lines. Yeah. You're changing. I think you're even changing. Are you changing time zones at that point?
No. Halfway through Indiana, you do because they're weird.
Yeah. Okay. It's right
certainly
there.
Leaving very early in the morning, because if it's kicking off at 1 and you got a 3-hour drive and a 2-hour setup, and then you get the whole thing to break down, then you get a 3-hour drive home. Just think how long of a day that is.
Or you know what? If the negotiation point gets sticky, you just say, well, I can waive the travel fee if you pick up a hotel room for the night before, because I'm willing to come in the night before, get a good night's sleep, get up early, set up, do your event, and then drive home that night, and it all breaks even.
I'll have the cash equivalent of that because that'll never happen.
Yeah.
I'll drive in the night before. I won't be able to sleep because I'll be wigged out about the whole thing. No,
Right.
I've done it before.
Oh,
We'll get you a hotel room. Like, I'll have the cash equivalent, please.
no, I left here at 11 once and got back at 3:30 in the morning the next morning and made a bundle, and don't regret for 1 second lugging the gear from the ceremony reception to the hotel room, to the van, to the drive home. And no, I'll just drive home.
Yeah.
Come with you on
By that time, you're wired anyway.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the Red Bull days.
I mean, I've told tons of stories about how, it ends at 10. The truck is loaded before 11. I'm on the road. I'm already amped up from, a great night. And I've driven that one time. I got home at 6 a.m. and I still couldn't sleep.
Yeah. It's a great question, though.
I thought I'd be tired, but there's just something about, that afterglow. I can't think of the right term for it, but you do. You're just, you really, you're amped up.
Oh, I'm amped up to the end of the gig. I mean, I don't I'm getting tired. It's 10 o'clock. I can't wait till midnight. No, I'm just juiced.
I'm juiced absolutely.
I am.
But you got to look at the big picture for safety too, Howie. When we just did the show in Vegas, they had me scheduled to check out on Thursday. And I called the new boss and I'm like, I really think I should check out on Friday. He's like, why? I said, well, if I check out on Thursday, I'm getting up early. I've got to check out, do the show. If we don't get pallets till late, it could be 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, and I hit the road, and now I'm in a dark desert with wind. God forbid anything happened to me. What was he doing? Oh, he was on the clock driving home versus broad daylight, had a good night's sleep. And he's like,
good point. Liability.
He goes, you know what? I absolutely agree. I'll check you out Friday. I said, normally we come in the day before and leave the day after, just for the safety. And for what it's worth, when we do EDC, that show is 2:30 in the afternoon till usually about 4 in the morning. And then you do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday is actually used to be the travel day. And they all agreed that everyone was so exhausted that they bumped it to Tuesday. So you have Monday just to kind of decompress because you've just worked 40 hours in 3 days or 40, whatever. The last thing you want to do is sit in a straight line through the desert for 4 hours.
Yeah, I would consider that an actual job because you are physically putting things on pallets as opposed to an event.
Well, so that's true. But let's say your event.
I don't think I'd be as jazzed after loading pallets as I am after.
You're not. And I agree. But it's like that night you left Boston and I know you drove straight.
Yeah.
Well, I have to contend with that occasional rainstorm or wind or whatever. You've got to contend with what if all of a sudden halfway home you hit a snowstorm and you get locked up on the freeway,
right?
Versus had you stayed over that night. I think clients respect when we view things professionally and we treat them that way because they have their safety level concerns as well. And I think the more professional we are in that realm, the more we'll be treated professionally.
It's a good question, though, Howie. I like the question. I think it's very topical as far as what's going on right now. And when I think back to when I made the decision that it's just $100 for gas, that's what I just figure. I think it was 2008 when we had a jack up in fuel prices when it was like $4.50 a gallon or whatever it was. And I thought to myself, geez, if I nickel and dime this crap, at like $2.75 or whatever it was before that.
It looks petty if you.
It's very petty.
Yeah.
Just standardize it at that. It's not going to cost you a full tank of gas to drive an hour somewhere and an hour back. So you make a little money. Sue me. Big deal. Work it into at least I'm covered,
To circle back to what you were saying earlier about the gas stations, sometimes they pay less or more. I mean, it comes down to that old saying, sometimes you eat the bear, sometimes the bear eats you, but in the long run, it all evens out.
Exactly. So if you feel like you're not charging enough for travel now, start charging it from here on out.
Right.
Pass that on to however it works, and you'll be fine.
Well, sure. Well, what we just spent, Howie, on the trip to North Carolina, it's, what we paid at the pump, it's going to be double by the end of this month. So you think,
oh my God, I couldn't imagine.
Let's pretend for a minute that you are charging what you need to charge for today's fuel prices, and then the prices drop by the time the wedding comes along. Would you call the client and say, "Oh, the fuel prices dropped, so I'm reducing my fuel charge by whatever it is, 35 cents a gallon"? And no, that's stupid. Just $100 done.
Yeah,
that's how I think about it. You wouldn't do it that way.
I have to go to Vegas March 20th for a 4-day gig, and I guarantee I paid $449, $439 to do Max last week before, and at the rate things are going, unless they hit a ceiling, it's conceivable I could be paying $7 on an 18-gallon tank.
Oh, yeah.
It's $105, and the Jeep gets terrible mileage. So it'll be I'll make 300 in mileage and spend 200. I've rented cars that got 30, 40 miles to the gallon.
Right.
Or taken Michelle's Jetta, which, is getting like 29, 30 miles to the gallon, make the 300, and it's only costing me, $70. So it's going to start eating into certain costs.
Right.
So I think, like Brian said, it's part of your business plan. You have to know what your car insurance, maintenance, you got to have a per mileage charge.
Rolling in that big old Suburban.
Well, I've always called it.
Yeah, Brian should be
thirsty,
anxious, just like I am. No, my Jeep gets terrible gas mileage.
I did a video on this years ago, and I called it worst case scenario pricing, and that's exactly what I was talking about. You got to plan for this stuff so you're not hurting yourself. Just what's the worst case scenario? Gas goes up to whatever. We'll charge whatever, and so that's what I do for that. So I'm just covering my butt.
And understand, it's really only now. Are you willing to contact existing clients, or we're talking only new bookings, right?
Oh, I would never. I think, I've already given my word. I'm not going to.
That's what I mean.
Back.
So
Right.
it becomes one of those variables of new clients for next October. You've got to add that $25, $35 as part
you
of
charge them now.
Yeah. But I'm saying I can't call the 50 I've got now and say, "Hey, everybody, gas went up."
No.
But I will say this:
would be
Zoom
ethical.
is a godsend, because I have an in-person meeting Wednesday night, like 15 miles from here. And I've got a meeting Thursday, and they live Rancho Cucamonga. And at first we were talking about meeting, and I've already said to them, with everything going on now, I think Zoom or phone call would probably be most suitable with gas. And he came back with like, "Dude, gas is killing us." I'm like, good, we're all on the same page.
Well, like, back to what we were talking about before, if you feel like you have not been charging enough for travel, and now you need to adjust it. And for that client you're booking for October, charge them the new adjusted price. In the meantime, if gas prices drop this summer, you don't call them back and say, "Oh, I'll get my money back. I'll give you some money back on this." It is what it is. It's market price at the time. It's like when you go to like any like restaurant that serves fish, they charge you market price for things. It's right now it's market price, whatever. Yeah. So that's how you do it.
Yeah.
That's all.
You wouldn't want to haul.
We've been through this. We've been through this before.
Yeah.
With different things, where prices, everybody is all, "Oh my gosh, gas prices doubled." It's a big world. Things have, changed, with this war, but they'll buy gas from somebody else. There's always going to be somebody looking to fill a gap, and
it's all going to work out. I think
it's all going to work out.
I don't think the sky is going to fall, no matter what they tell you.
No, I don't.
It'll be all right.
It's a small glitch in the matrix for today.
We've had a couple lately, and it's hard. But if we can get through COVID, we can get through a couple extra bucks a gallon if we have to. We're going to live.
Sure we will.
In the meantime, hopefully truck prices drop, and I can get a new Suburban soon.
That'd
for
be
thousands
sweet.
less than it would have cost me right now.
Excellent.
Ask me how I bought my last truck. I bought it in 2009. I was not screwing around. Gas prices were high. I paid nothing for the truck.
Yeah.
And I plan on doing the same thing this summer, hopefully, if people all start, jumping onto, little 60-mile-a-gallon Geo Metros. I'm going to buy my Escalade and call it a day.
I got the call today from Connor. His buddies dropped the price. He's now selling a 97 LS 400, one owner, one original owner, 160,000 miles. I'm like, yeah, what's the mileage on? He goes, he said that there are times he's seen it as high as 22, 23, but he's concerned about everything. So he just wants to get rid of it now. I'm like,
pull the trigger.
Yeah, I just might
buy it, park it, and wait.
Yeah.
Now is the time. It's kind of like it's my version of playing the stock market. This is kind of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no. And when when the gas skyrockets, that's exactly when you want to pick up Suburbans. Because people realize, you know what, this isn't going to last.
Buy low, sell high.
I can't do this.
How I play. Oh, and hot rod parts? Oh, I can't wait for the summer. Because I don't build for fuel economy. That's just how it goes.
Right. Well, with that, I think we're going to put a fork in this one. Thank you guys for being here, and we will see you next week.
See you tomorrow, actually.
Thank you all. And oh yes, tune in tomorrow. There's two guys like right to my right here, and
tomorrow would make perfect sense if we were actually on YouTube right now.
If
it's
we
like
were,
this will show up at Friday at 4 a.m. People would be like, "You guys are on Saturday night."
Well, in all fairness, there are a few people like watching this live. So for DJ Mikey Mike, not Mikey Mike, but Mikey Mike.
Not doing it.
JC, Steve, John, Alex the Bubble, and Lori, come join us tomorrow. Everybody else, Arbor Day. We'll be back.
Arbor Day, sometime then. Yeah.
See you on Flag Day.
Night all.